All right, Cubs fam, how's it going? We are back for another top 10 squads in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. We do it for the month of December 2020, and I brought on a legend in the Galaxy of Heroes community, the one and only Fulbright from now Team Instinct / Shadowlands. What are you guys calling yourself? Team Shadowlands?
Team Shadowlands. Yeah, we're all one big happy family now, Cubs.
One big happy territory war scary family.
Okay.
These guys are, I mean, it's almost indisputable now. You're what, top one, top two? One or two in territory wars?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to be. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's what we're trying to be, yeah.
So this is the best person I could possibly bring on to talk about this. Now, before we get into the list, I did have a lot of feedback last month. You guys wanted to see Galactic Legends ranked separately. And so we will be ranking the top 4 Galactic Legends teams first, and then we'll do the top 10 teams outside of Galactic Legends, just so we can give some more teams love there, because Galactic Legends are kind of hogging the list now, aren't they, Fulbright?
They are, but the one good thing about where we're at right now is, as you guys will see in this top 10 list, there are 10 squads that can really equalize just about everything Galactic Legend.
100%.
So right now, I think the game's in a good place because we got a lot of options for the free-to-play player that may not have all those Galactic Legends, and they can compete in Grand Arena and many other aspects of the game.
While there's a lot to wail on, it would take a long time to get everything.
Yep.
This game has more balance, I think, than it's had in quite some time. So
yes.
Let's get into it.
Sure.
Let's start with the GLs. Now, Fulbright and I are on the same page here. This is how we're ranking the GLs this time. I have decided to change up my ranking of them. I did have Luke in second place, Rey in last place, and Sith Eternal in third place. I think that the bottom was all wrong. I'm actually ranking Rey in second place now, mostly because her defensive viability to me is a huge standout lately. Luke in third place, and then Palpatine. It just seems like he's almost snowballed into an offensive team at this point. Not a ton of defensive viability outside of shutting down JML teams, which nobody's running JML. What do you think, Fulbright?
I mean, I agree. The Sith Eternal Emperor, I would have to say, is pretty much the most underwhelming out of all of them.
Yeah.
I would think that, Luke, while I love him as a character, he's really more of an offensive powerhouse in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it really goes back to the first two. The first two are the ones, they can be offensive or defensive. They can do it all. And they're especially in territory war. And don't forget, in territory battles, these two teams, can get you those 4 out of 4s.
Oh, yeah,
so they're really important as well. So, but you can't necessarily do that with the others. So I'm leaning more towards the old school SLKR and Rey. And let's just call it what it is. They're the original GLs, and so far they're still kind of king of the heap.
Yeah, and I think it's good to see, honestly. Now, as somebody who got Jedi Master Luke, there's a part of me that's maybe a little bit butthurt that he's not, the best character ever invented in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. But if I set my own personal feeling aside and look at it a little more objectively, they told us that they were going to balance the new GLs to be on a similar power level to the old GLs. A lot of you guys in the comments were like, no way they do that. They did it. In fact, it looks like the new GLs are actually 3rd and 4th. And so I think that's really, really positive to see. All right, let's get into the meat of the list. We don't want to talk about GLs anymore. We are going to talk about 1 through 10 non-galactic legend teams. We'll do 5 at a time, and we'll talk about them. Sound good, Fulbright?
That sounds great to me.
Okay, going from 10 to 1. We got ranked 10 bounty hunters in at number 10, and we do have Mando and Grief in that team. I believe our only light side, dark side mixed team on this list. Number 9, Moff Gideon teams with Veer's lead. That's notable. We'll talk about it. Number 8 is your Grievous team. It's a flex spot on the 5th, but you're pretty much always going to see him with B2, with B1, and with IG Magna Guard. Sometimes you'll throw Watt in there. Sometimes you'll put Newton there. Sometimes you'll put BB-8 in there. That last spot, it just really depends on the situation. Number 7, your Jedi Revan teams. Again, flex spot on that last spot there as well, depending on what tank you want to run. And then number 6, we've got our CLS teams with 3 Baka and 3PO. So you're literally running Chewie and C3PO twice in there. I don't know how that works from a lore perspective, but we're running with it. It's probably the best CLS team in the game. So, Fulbright, probably the sexiest team in this mix for now is the Troopers team. Talk to me a little bit about this. How are you feeling about Troopers at number 9?
Man, I love it. I've always been a big proponent of Troopers because they have a lot of uses outside of just the typical let's kill some Night Sisters or something with it.
Let's fail to kill some Night Sisters if you're me.
Yeah. But if you honestly think about it, like they'd have uses not only in Territory War, but like the Ewok event, get you the extra Zetas. You got the Imperial attack or Imperial, whatever they call it, the challenge thing. Get you some extra Zetas, get you some of that sweet, mod currency. They have all of that combined in there. But with the addition of Gideon and Piet, now they can pretty much kill just about any team on the board outside of CLS.
Yep.
They're a threat to anybody. As long as you know how to mod them and you know what you're doing, they're viable. There is no doubt about it.
We're seeing them beat Darth Revan teams. Of course, we're seeing them beat those Sith Eternal teams. Being able to beat teams like those are big teams that you see out there, especially Darth Revan teams. Honestly, I'm actually more impressed by the Darth Revan counter usability because I'm not really seeing very many Sith Eternals on defense. Most people are holding them for offense. Not all the time, though. Sometimes they're on defense.
Right.
But being able to beat Darth Revan and use something else to beat Darth Revan is very, very usable.
It is.
I'm not seeing them beat gas teams. Last I heard, are you hearing the same, or have you seen them beat gas?
No. They can definitely beat a gas team.
Okay.
It's just it's all about how you have them modded. But the key is this new Gideon character. He looks like he's really going to be a strong plug and play character. And there's some people kind of concerned that he might end up getting a little bit of a nerf, especially when they throw out these other characters they've been teasing, like possibly the Dark Trooper and so forth. But as of right now, this team right here next month may end up in the top 5.
You say Dark Trooper?
We'll just have to see.
You say Dark Trooper? You're teasing next month Gideon in the top 5. Are you calling your shot right now?
I'm calling my shot. He might end up there.
Okay, that's it. So, guys, Fulbright and I are going to be on the video for January, okay? Dude, this is going to be a monthly thing now. Fulbright and I, top 10 squads. We'll see if next month, if Dark Trooper makes the jump. I really like bounty hunters making this list as well, Fulbright. I want to talk a little bit about them. Bounty hunters were probably my favorite passion project I ever farmed in this game. After Galactic Legends came out, I had this kind of crisis moment where I was like, oh, this is so overwhelming. I was a little bit rebellious, and I decided, what do I want to farm right now? And I took a couple months. I didn't farm for SLKR or Ray, and I just blitzed my bounty hunters. I got a Relic 7 Django. I got a High Relic Bosk. High Relic a Boba, High Relic Dengar, and now I've got both Mando and Grief nearly ready to go up to Relics as well. And every time I play with this team, I love them. Their territory battles use is great. They've got a ton of use in Grand Arena, both on offense and defense. Literally pick how you want to use them. You're going to have success there. Relic 7 Django is phenomenal at catching people off guard. And I love the Annihilate ability that Mando has in there, especially if you get him in a team that can get contract fast. So much use for these characters. They're a Swiss Army knife. So many different places you can use these guys.
Don't forget, we got these new mod relic materials, or the mod slicing materials. To go from 6E to 6A. It's the most valuable currency in the game right now. And you have to have a good bounty hunters team to get through their galactic challenge. So they're still just as usable. And don't forget too, we also got a couple ship pilots in there that are highly usable in your ship arena, in the dark side TB fleet combats, and your territory war and your GAC combat. I don't know anybody out there that says I have no use for Houndstooth. So it's very important.
All right, let's get into the top of the list. Here we go. Rank 5, we have got Darth Vader with Watt and Thrawn. We got to talk about that team. That team is a bit of a Swiss Army knife as well. Rank 4, Padme teams, pretty typical. You've got Jedi Knight Luke in at number 3. Now, Jedi Knight Luke, I think it's important to mention, I questioned, last month I didn't include him on the list because most people are using Jedi Knight Luke in Jedi Master Luke teams. That's not always the case, though. So you do have good use of it. You actually persuaded me to put this here, and so I'll let you defend that. I actually think you had good logic there. Darth Revan in at number 2, and Gas at number 1. No, numbers 1 and 2, I think, are pretty vanilla. Like, we've kind of before Galactic Legends. Yeah, tell me what else is new, but talk a little bit about why you would separate specifically Jedi Knight Luke.
Because well, let's start with number 1.
Oh, okay.
All the characters that you need to get him help set up the rest of this board.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Number 1. Number 2, his leadership is extremely useful on, like I said, Galactic Challenges, the new Lightside TB. You're guaranteed 4 out of 4 if you put him in the leadership position.
True.
He's a plug and play character. Yes, you can use him with Jedi Knight Revan. You can use him on, under a gas lead. You can use him in a lot of situations, especially with the new Jedi Master Luke. But
raw damage,
his leadership,
AOE stun, that's always usable.
His leadership allows you to separate all your Jedi to help you get through your GACs.
Okay.
Now, when you can take one team and separate it out into 2 or 3 and achieve the same results, that's the most bang you're going to get for your buck.
That's a good point.
He's the invaluable character. Invaluable character.
Really good point, especially in 3v3, right? And 3v3, I mean, that's half of the grand arenas we're doing right now, so you have to consider it.
Yeah, it's not only that, and in territory war, I mean, he's a Galactic Legend killer. I mean, he's that too. So he's got everything kind of packaged in that you need. Not to mention, we'll go back to the Galactic Challenges. He works there too. So we got to get, that you got to use him to get everything you need. And he's kind of a tough character. He's kind of tough character to get. Like I said, you have to fill out a lot of that board just to get him.
It's like a mini Galactic Legend farm, almost. It's almost in that direction. And obviously, what I love so much about the Jedi Knight Luke farm is it bleeds so much into the Jedi Master Luke farm. That was one reason why when Jedi Master Luke hit, I was really ecstatic, because I already had been working on Jedi Knight Luke, and so it was so easy for me to make that transition up to Jedi Master Luke. Now, speaking of Galactic Legend killers, obviously Jedi Knight Luke here, GL killer. How about Darth Vader? This is the best free-to-play GL killer out there, and this is being used a lot in top-end territory wars still.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing about the Vader team is it is the team that requires the most finesse.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You have to understand.
Like that word. That's the perfect word to use for that.
Yeah. You have to know how to use him. You have to understand the kit. You have to understand how to mod him. You have to understand the cooldowns of the other team.
Yeah.
You have to understand when to throw the saber, when not to throw the saber, how to guarantee you're going to get your crits. He's a tough team to use, but if you can master him, there's actually 2 or 3 different variations where he can be used against every one of the Galactic Legends. There's none of them that are safe from Vader.
Nobody's
safe. It's just knowing how to use him. If you don't practice with him and you aren't up with all the little nuances, then he can also be an extremely frustrating character, which is why I like him kind of down there at number 5 instead of up at towards number 1.
But if you know how to use him, if you use it right, you will love Vader. And that's it requires research, practice, failure. And fortunately, if you're in a good squad arena, you should be able to find plenty of teams to practice against with your Vader. A quick pro tip from me to you: get that crit chance as high as you possibly can, because the crit chance, when I went and remodded my Vader and got his crit chance above 80%, boy, did I see much better results once I did that. And so you have any other pro tips with Vader that you could bless us with? Fulbright?
He needs get him up to 270 speed.
Okay, the speed is important too.
If you want him to be viable against just about any team on the board, 270 speed, high crit chance, absolutely, yes.
270 speed, high crit chance. I like a little bit of potency if I can squeeze it in there. You want those ability blocks landing as well. But I think that probably the highest priority is that crit chance.
Well, and if you think about it too, his leadership is awesome. The turn meter manipulation is great. but he can also work as a plug and play character, under many other uses. I mean, I've even seen guys use him under Tarkin, under a Tarkin lead to get that extra speed, to try to get a jump on an opponent in GAC. So, and he can be used against a lot of things. He destroys bounty hunters. I mean, he destroys just about anything you put him out there. Except
Amazing
CLS.
offensive character.
CLS does, he loses against CLS. Rebels kind of tear him a new one. But that's the best part about the game right now. There's all kinds of balance. There's no dominant team. Everybody has a counter.
That's true. Yeah. We've talked about this. We'll circle back to it and end the video here. I think that the more that I look at and analyze every team that is in the game, the game is, for how long the game's been around, for how many OP broken characters they've brought to the game is a remarkable amount of balance right now. I think the game is balanced better now than it was last year at this time, and it's not even close. And that's just.
And I'll take it one step further. You take a look at like the free to play player. Like, man, Moff Gideon, he's usable at 4 stars.
Totally.
He's usable at 4 stars. There's actually quite a few of the new characters that have come out that are usable at 4 stars. So, if you're not trying to play at the super high end, as a free to play player, all of these counters are usable and accessible at that lower level. And by problem.
Usable, to clarify, I mean, with Moff Gideon at 4 stars or 3 stars, Gear 11, the extra speed that you get from Gear 13 is probably going to be pretty important if you're going to reliably use him to counter like Galactic Legends, for example. You may need to accept that it may be a struggle to use him against Galactic Legends, but against every other team in the game, it's going to be it's not all about countering Galactic Legends in this game. You're going to have confidence against other teams, but I mean, maybe it's possible.
Think of it like this. So let's say you've got him at 3 star, but you have been playing the game long enough where you've got a 7-star Thrawn. Yeah. And you're going into your GAC and you're like, man, I've seen these videos, but I just can't get my Moff Gideon that fast enough. No problem. Put him with Thrawn.
That's a good point. Yeah,
pop a turn to Thrawn. And then suddenly pop a turn, and then next thing you know, he can reduce all the turn meter, and now he's become a plug and play character for you.
That utility with Moff Gideon, I saw that, and I just thought this is going to be incredibly, just insanely useful if you can get Moff Gideon to take the first turn and strip everybody. I mean, it takes everybody's turn meter to nothing. It's freaking insane, man. I mean, I remember seeing that CLS could strip 100% turn meter. I thought, whoa, that's too OP on one character.
Not an AoE. Yeah, absolutely. So guys, especially if you're free to play, don't get too discouraged. Honestly, right now, a free to play player could really be having a theory crafting dream right now with how usable all these characters are, and they're basically giving them to you for free to allow you to have a lot of fun. Especially in the lower GAC brackets, for sure.
Couldn't agree with you more. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this video. Fulbright, thank you as well. Always great to have your expertise on here, guys. I can't speak highly enough about Fulbright and the Shadowlands community. Now Shadowlands Team Instinct, got Shadow Instinct, Team Shadowlands. I don't know what to call you guys now. But these guys are just absolute workhorse animals when it comes to this game. And so anytime the Cubs fam gets a chance to hear from them and hear some of their knowledge, it's just really nice to have that perspective. So Fulbright, thanks for joining us.
Hey, man, I love it. I'll be happy to help you out anytime, brother.
Well, you'll be back next month at least. So we're gonna see if these troopers go up a few spots on a list. All right, guys, thanks again for joining me for the video. Like the video if you did enjoy it, and as always, my brothers, don't forget.